Is this the end of Bioware? That's a depressing way to start a video. Boy, do I wish I was coming on here with some awesome news about the new Mass Effect coming out. I don't. It's just shit. It's a shit sandwich. It's just like you take a piece of bread, another piece of bread, and a piece of poop in the middle of that shit sandwich. Shit. That's a lot of shits in the opening of a video. That's probably not going to go very well for the YouTube algorithm, but that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about EA going private and going AI and going in debt and yay. But it kind of feels inevitable after the most recent news following a string of struggles for the once storied RPG studio that made some of my favorite RPGs of all time and some of the most iconic companions ever.
Tell me, have you ever licked a lamppost in winter?
Instead, we're probably looking at layoffs, a whole host of AI slop, and tons of your favorite thing in the world, microtransactions, as well as possible censorship and the 5,000th iteration of Madden. But this time, the footballs are slightly different. And it costs more. EA has officially been sold to a consortium of people who probably don't give two shits about storytelling, but will love the income generated from the next Madden Ultimate Team. The headlines are EA is going private in a massive deal valued at $55 billion, with a B, a deal that also puts a huge $20 billion, with a B, financial hole in EA that may hasten some departures and layoffs in the fashion of Embracer Group. Yes, they are being sold for $55 billion and also taking on $20 billion of debt. Cause money, I guess. But more on that in just a little bit. We got other shit to talk about first. This is a sale that Kotaku put fairly bluntly as EA's $55 billion sale to some of the worst people around. For a background here, it's essentially a bunch of Saudi Arabian investors and Jared Kushner, the son-in-law of Donald Trump, bringing with it a whole host of ethical and moral questions. Yeah, great, cool, awesome. Beyond that though, there seems to be some bright red writing on the wall that Bioware may be on the chopping block, if it wasn't already. And hell, perhaps even The Sims, as the purchase seems to be made with one primary goal in mind. Sports seems to be the goal in mind. Now, I mean, granted, The Sims is probably not going to, Sims is just a lot of microtransactions anyway, so it's a money maker for them. But sports seems to be the major push here, the main reason for this purchase. But don't take it from me, just listen to this quote from the people buying EA to begin with. This is from the official press release from EA on the purchase, and Silver Lake, one of the firms purchasing it, said, quote, "The investment embodies Silver Lake's mission to partner with exceptional management teams at the highest quality companies. EA is a special company, a global leader in interactive entertainment anchored by its premier sports franchise, with accelerating revenue growth and strong and scaling free cash flow. We are honored to invest and partner with Andrew, an extraordinary CEO who has doubled revenue, nearly tripled EBITDA, and driven a 5-fold increase in market cap during his tenure. All shit I don't give a shit about. I don't care about your money. Just make games that are cool. That's all." That doesn't seem like the goal here. It just seems like money is the goal. Shocking, I know. But just to repeat here, anchored by its premier sports franchise. In fact, sports was mentioned several times in the news release, and the firms buying it have a history in esports and sports. But the bigger issue here, at least from where I'm sitting, is not just that they may be focusing on the sports, because EA was already focusing on the sports. In fact, when they missed money in 2024, it was because of those it was because of FC 24 not making as much money as they hoped it would make. But the bigger issue that I'm seeing here is that while there was a careening need for profit as a public company, it's now taking on new wrinkles for, well, you guessed it, careening need for profit as a private company. Because this deal includes a mind-boggling figure of debt that must be paid off every year. As reported by Ars Technica, which is linked down below, the deal includes a yawning pit of $20 billion courtesy of JP Morgan Chase that will need to be filled at an estimate of $1 billion per year, about a sixth or so of the gross profit of EA in 2025. Now, I'm no mathematician, math whiz. I suck at math. 2 + 2 = 6. But I don't think taking like 6 of your profit and just like throwing it into the yawning pit is a good way to make risky moves in gaming. It seems like you would consolidate and just go with the thing that works every year and takes the least amount of effort and money. The sports games that you just reskin every year. And all of this is keeping in mind that this is the same EA that has been carving out Bioware for years to, well, save money. This paints a grim picture for the studio's future. Something echoed in that same report from Ars Technica where DFC Intelligence's Dave Cole suggested that the future EA would be more focused on live services, annual sports franchises, and microtransactions. So it's a good thing that EA wasn't focusing on those things before. And if that weren't enough bad news, there's also another report out of the Financial Times. The new owners are planning to pivot hard into AI to replace people working on games. AI so far has mostly just been a whole lot of fluff and slop, but there's tons of money going into it, making this yet another company desperately trying to replace creativity and humanity with slop for cash. Yay, it's like Microsoft, but somehow worse. Basically, my opinion on AI is that it seems like people that use it are trying to take a shortcut. That's generally how I've seen it push forward. Is it's not like, oh, this is gonna be great. This is gonna make amazing things. It's going to make things cheaper. So slop. That's generally what it is. It's cheaper and faster, and if you don't count the incredible energy use that it takes. But shit on a cracker, this just kind of sucks. It's just shit. Awful. Crap. Fart nuggets. I don't know how else to put it. Just fart nuggets. I'm not hopeful for Bioware, a team that has already been gutted year over year to the point where it's essentially just one team working on Mass Effect 5 now. At least until this, anyway. EA has kind of always been this big albatross around the neck of Bioware, trying to push for more live service type things, but this is deeply concerning on multiple levels to the point where I'm actually kind of clinging to this hope that Bioware can somehow, against all odds, pull off a Saber Interactive. Saber Interactive was a studio under Embracer Group, the acquisition-hungry group that, ironically, fumbled a multi-billion-dollar deal with the Saudi group and got left holding the bag on all these studios that it had eaten up and proceeded to create some of the worst carnage in the gaming industry over the last few years, closing tons of studios and laying off thousands of developers, all while promoting the person who did it. But Saber was able to break away from Embracer in a $247 million deal and take with it the very successful Space Marine 2 very recently. Given the very real concerns about censorship here with this deal, as well as a general lack of interest in any kind of risk-taking from the sound of it and just more pushing of slop-driven microtransaction stale titles, it kind of makes it seem like the only logical way forward, not only for Bioware, but perhaps some of the other studios under EA too, like Respawn, is kind of going away, leaving IP sales or just closures, unfortunately. It's looking very bleak when you combine this private sale, the debt that's going along with it, and this new kind of push from new ownership that could potentially be calling the shots. Not to mention that a running theme through all of these articles that are all linked down below is that there is the very same sex relationships that are in games like Mass Effect that Bioware was working on that did so well. Well, they're criminalized in the place where the investments are coming from. One of the articles says, like, the canary in the coal mine will be if we start seeing censorship in The Sims. The Sims being this huge thing for EA that makes tons and tons of money for them. So if they censor The Sims, I think that's where we'll start seeing some major issues on the censorship front of this. An already bleak future for Bioware is looking even bleaker. And I feel like at this point, honestly, I'm mostly just wish casting that the remnants of Bioware can be spun off into its own studio and go back to being not part of EA. But even then, so many people have been fired from Bioware that maybe looking towards studios that have been made by former Bioware devs, like even Archetype Entertainment, who's making Exodus, might be the better place for us to start pinning our hopes. God, I just wanted some good news and this is just shit, but I felt like I needed to cover it. And I said shit a lot in this, so I apologize if you were eating a meal while watching this video. But anyway, if you want like a palate cleanser from all of this, watch this video right here on the most iconic companions in RPGs, and god damn it, a lot of them are Bioware companions. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.